Bravo's The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City had its premiere this week, bringing Housewives fans to the snow-capped mountains of Utah for a mix of the cocktail hour drama that the show is known for and an introduction into Utah's predominating Latter-day Saint culture. I'm from Utah, and watched the show's premiere with a careful curiosity into which direction it would go, as well as what it might get right or wrong about my home state. As a native Utahan, I can say that, when the show was announced about a year ago, one of the primary local concerns was that it would either lean too heavily into local LDS culture or not at all. Either end of that spectrum would have missed the dynamic of what it means to live in Utah entirely, so the show would have to find some middle ground to be both entertaining and authentic, and avoid offending members of the church. Living here, you're either part of the religion or you're not, but you're never fully out of it, and there is no denying that the state's LDS population contributes, in large part, to our local culture. However, leaning too far into it would have made a mockery of it entirely, serving not as a defender of the religion but as a satirical look at its members. Mormons also don't drink, or at least they're not supposed to, so a Real Housewives cast full of sober women would have been pretty boring according to Housewives standards. Obviously LDS women do fight and can be catty about it. No one group of people is a monolith, but they're just not drunk when they're doing it, and that's what fans of the show love to see. The show did find its middle ground in representing what it means to live in a community predominated by a single religion while managing to show its diversity as well, but it likely did so at the expense of its LDS viewers. At the start of the premiere we first meet Jen Shah, a Park City housewife that grew up Mormon but transitioned to Islam when her husband, University of Utah football coach Sharrieff Shah Jr., pointed out to her that the LDS Church did not allow black people to participate in much of the religion until 1978. Shah, who credits her husband and their 2 kids as being her reason for not participating in the church, also mentions that she is of Tongan descent. An estimated 25% of the Tongan population in the United States lives in Utah, which is more than Hawaii, so Shah's heritage represents a small nod to one population that doesn't often attention outside of our local community. For the show's creator Andy Cohen to have included this tells me that Real Housewives put its research into Salt Lake City. Next, I want to point out that much of the show, despite being called The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, actually takes place in Park City. Much like the 2002 Olympics, this obnoxious fact is often overlooked by those unfamiliar with the area.